I am working to make eBay my primary source of income, but I'm also a stay-at-home parent to two very young kids. I'm trying to generate $1,000 a week in profit, but this has not been easy. Let's see what I can squeeze in and hopefully turn out a good week's profit. First up, we've got to hit the game store to make a quick trade-in. I picked up a nice retro game haul last week for $200 total, including some boxed NES and Intellivision games, and PS1, 2, and 3 consoles. Punch-Out, which price charts around $220, ended up in my personal collection, and I've decided to take the other games over to the game store for a cash trade, simply because they would take way too long for me to sell individually. And I ended up getting $107 in cash, more than halfway back to our initial investment. We've got a lot left from that haul to sell. And on the way back home, we passed a couple of garage sale signs. Let me show you what I grabbed for $100 all in. I got a couple of really nice outerwear pieces, 2 Patagonias, a Vineyard Vines, and a Carhartt vest, which was probably the best item with comps around $40 to $50. I also ended up grabbing some really nice denim, this pair of BDGs from Urban Outfitters that I need to do a bit more research on, but looks like about a $30 pair of jeans. I ended up grabbing 6 pairs of Levi's booty shorts, probably a $20 item each. Might be able to lot them up to sell them a little bit faster since they're all the same size. They're from the Levi's vintage line. I did get excited because they have the big E on the little tab on the back, but they're unfortunately just an official Levi's repro of their own vintage stuff, and 1 pair of actual jeans from the same vintage line. And finally picked up this Giro bicycle helmet, brand new, for only $10. Should get at least $30 for it. All right, so good afternoon. Today is Monday, and I've got 9 more things I've got to pack up, and some stuff I've had sitting around for a while. So I'm going to start with some of those items, actually. I've been experimenting with pricing things a little bit higher. If you do a search on eBay, you get kind of like a market price for an item. So for example, I've had this NES console, and market price says it's $70 plus shipping. So my strategy was, okay, I've got, some experience with video games. I'm doing a little bit extra work to it, like cleaning it, reconditioning the pins for like an original NES, if you're familiar with that. It's from 1985, but due to the design, over time the pins get like loose, and that's what causes a lot of the problems with it. You can actually take it off, boil it in water, and then it like kind of moves them back into the position that they used to be in. Over time, again, you'll have the same problem, but 5 to 10 years, you pop it off and do it again. It takes like 30 minutes. And it works very, very well to actually fix these things. So doing a little bit of extra work, I have a very good feedback on my store. I have 100% positive feedback for now. Sell a lot of video game stuff. So I figure I'm going to ask for a little bit more. And that was working really well, actually, for a lot of the more modern consoles, like the PS3s, the Xbox 360s. They were selling for, maybe like $10 to $15 more than I was getting for them maybe about a year ago. Unfortunately for the retro consoles, I was not really finding the same thing happening. Maybe the consumer for those are just, a little more savvy and maybe are more likely to be collectors, maybe a little bit more price conscious than maybe someone just kind of like off the cuff buying, a PS3 or PS4 or whatever. So kind of interesting, but I ended up, they were listed for like months, and I'm kind of like ready to sell them. I don't have that much space back here, so that is kind of a limitation for me. A limitation I am choosing, but that's a limitation. And so I decided to just drop it to market price for a couple of consoles, and, of course, very quickly they sold. So I sold an NES console with cables and a controller for $70 plus shipping. We sold a Super Nintendo for $80 plus shipping. And again, same thing with the Super Nintendo. That was listed for quite a long time. And once I dropped the price, they sold very, very fast. And besides those items, we have a pretty good mix of like some interesting stuff. So I've mentioned this before in videos. I used to pick these up pretty consistently, these Hasbro lightsabers, and would sell them for like 15 to 20 bucks, and they would sell within a couple weeks of listing. I don't know what happened, but that's not really the case for me anymore. I'm not really sure why. But we did sell another one for $10 plus shipping. I sold this vintage mag light. It's made in the USA. Paid $3 for this at a thrift store and sold it for $15 plus shipping. Very, very fast, actually. Picked up this. I've been experimenting with tools a little bit. I don't have that many listings active, but just like, picking up some things, some basic things to look out for, like vintage Craftsman, made in the USA, like that type of stuff. Snap-on, I've heard, is good. I believe it's called Matco. And vintage Craftsman. I'm sure there's some other ones, but generally like older, made in USA, that type of stuff. But I sold this rigid plumbing pipe and tubing cutter, picked up for $2 from a garage sale and sold it for $20 plus shipping. Next up, I've got this Seiko. It's from the 1980s. Picked this up from the thrift store, I believe. Gold tone dial, kind of like Art Deco style. Really cool little watch, but sold it for $60 plus shipping. Picked up this lot of Stephen King hardcover books. No first editions, unfortunately, so nothing like super valuable, but paid $1 each for these and sold them for $20 on an offer plus shipping. I probably wouldn't pick something like this up again, unless it's like first editions, but like I said, I'm just trying to like experiment with things and kind of see what does well and what I like to sell. So next up, I mentioned these last week, I sold a lot of 90s hip hop and rap cassette tapes. I picked these up from a garage sale for $0.25 a piece. I think there was like 20 to 30 in the box. I lotted up a bunch of like rock and pop stuff from the 70s and 80s and sold that last week. And I think I got $20 for those. So we're already into the profit. I paid $10 for the entire box. And then I've got this pile of reggae cassette tapes. And there's one actually valuable one in there. There's a Bob Marley in there that I think goes for like 20 on its own. But I also sold these 4 rap cassette tapes for $35 plus shipping. So the best one is this Bone Thugs and Harmony cassette tape. Is kind of collectible and I think goes for about $25 on its own. But again, just wanted to lot them up and make the listing a little more desirable. So really nice one there, only literally $1 into those cassettes. And then the final item today, I was a little bummed about this. I picked up a bunch of football jerseys from a garage sale for $7 a piece. So I think I bought 7 for $50. So they were about $7 each. I kept noticing flaws that I didn't notice when I was at the sale, which was kind of a bummer. And I think they're just very fragile. It's possible that the flaws kind of emerged in the wash because 2 of them had big holes in the armpits that I missed. And when I was there, I was inspecting them to make sure they were in good condition. Didn't notice that. I feel like I would have noticed. So my guess is that it happened in the wash, maybe there was a loose thread that kind of got pulled or whatever. But happy to have sold it anyway. So again, I paid $7 for it and listed it as damaged. It's a vintage Reebok. Has no name on the back. It's probably had somebody's last name on it, like a custom jersey, and still managed to sell it for $15 plus shipping. So we'll make a couple bucks on it. Kind of works out because some of the other ones are going to be really good. So I think as a whole, that lot was still a good purchase. But anyway, those are the 9 things I've got today. Let's get these packed up. And managed to find some time for a thrift run this week. My first find today was this very nice DVD VCR combo from Panasonic with HDMI output. That is the thing you want to be looking for. And this one might be the best model I've ever found, with comps around $150 to $175. And a flip through the clothing racks led to 2 pretty good items. First is this Salute to Service Nike New York Giants hoodie in a 4XL size. This will probably sell super fast for around $30 to $40. And I grabbed this other hoodie for $6 with not many comps, but it's from this boutique streetwear brand. It feels really thick and heavy, and it's got a nice quality printing on it. I'll bet I can get at least $30 for this one too. All right, so good afternoon. It's Wednesday, and as you will see, I am not in the packing station. That's because over the last 2 days, we have sold nothing. And that is how it goes sometimes. It's the middle of the summer. My kids are back from summer camp. So if you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll know that before trying to pursue this, reselling thing, for the last couple of years, I've been a stay-at-home parent. And so that stage of my life is ending. I'm sort of in the middle of that transition, but in July, they had summer camp and kind of got to dive into this whole thing a little bit deeper, but that is over. And so they're home until September. So my pace has been a little bit slower than usual in terms of my ability to actually list items. So I'm still getting up 2 to 3 things a day, nothing crazy, but I think the slower listing combined with just summer being a slow time in general, my sales have not been great. But the week is not over. We still have a ways to go. And in the meantime, we are still here for our Wednesday Weird and Wacky Bolo, but I figured I'd record it from the game room instead, a little more comfortable back here. The item I've got for you today, very interesting. So I've been corrected on this 100 times, and I'm trying to pronounce it right. Polo Ralph Lauren. I want to say Ralph Lauren so badly right now. Polo Ralph Lauren. They've got these velvet throw pillows that are going for, new and pre-owned, $300 plus. So let's do these sold. And there's a bunch of other ones that actually have some value as well. 2 wool embroidered tartan pillows. It has like this military medals design on it. Someone took a best offer, but it was priced at $250. So let's just say they got $200 for that maybe. This one's a lot, but it has the polo bear on it. So it's a lot of 5 pillows. They got on an offer about $250. This one's new, so we'll skip the new ones. Lot of 6 Ralph Lauren polo. It's called Royal Stewart flag and monogram throw pillows, $175. That looks like another set of 5. We've got this Ralph Lauren pillow with this plaid pattern on it, $188 they got for it. We've got this one called the Guinevere. It's like a floral pattern. Best offer accepted, but $175 it was listed for. Another polo bear pillow, best offer, but it was listed at $75. These are just throw pillow covers. 2 Ralph Lauren polo bear throw pillow covers, $128. Another set of covers, $125. Some of these are brand new, but most of these are pre-owned. Another polo bear for $125. Crazy. And this is definitely something you would be able to find like at a garage sale, an estate sale, something somebody's not really thinking about being worth money. So there you go. That was Wednesday's Weird and Wacky Bolo. And we'll be back on Friday with hopefully some good sales to share. And one more thrift run this week, something I can actually bring my kids along with me to do. Let me show you what I grabbed for $33 total. And there's a banger in here. All right, so good afternoon. Today is Friday. I've got 10 more things I've got to pack up today. Thankfully, we had a couple sales since Wednesday. A little scary there in the middle of the week, but hey, that's how it goes sometimes. And we actually had some pretty nice ones that I got to talk to you about. So up first, we've got this Mizuno baseball glove. Picked up for $5 from a garage sale, sold it for $25 plus shipping. Got this pair of enamel earrings. They've got this little like sun and moon cat design on them. Paid $1 for these at a garage sale, sold them for $22 plus shipping. We've got this Benfica jersey. I think that's how you say it. But this, football, soccer jersey. Picked up for, I think it was $3 from a garage sale, sold it for $20 plus shipping. Got another $1 garage sale pickup. It's this like wave mattress, they call it, but like little pool inflatable. Sold for $15 plus shipping. Picked up a lot of vintage hats from an online estate sale. Paid about $10 for the lot, and I already sold one hat out of that for about $25. And then we sold this other hat. This was the reason I bought the lot, was this vintage Porsche trucker hat. Got $40 plus shipping for that. We've got a vintage New York Yankees Mets shirt. Picked up a lot of vintage Yankees and Giants stuff from a garage sale for $25 each. So I got like 20 to 30 pieces and been selling through them slowly, but got about $15 plus shipping for this one on an offer. Picked up a lot of Yankee candles from an estate sale for, I think it was $2 each, and got like 10 of them and been selling through those as well. But we sold this lot of 2 Yankee candles for $31 plus shipping. Sold a Nintendo Switch. Picked this up from Facebook Marketplace. $120 all in. Sold a couple games already, so we're already in the profit. And then we sold the console and some accessories for $140 plus shipping. This is a very exciting find. I've been, digging into the clothing a little bit, just trying to, broaden my knowledge and see what kind of things I can pick up. And I found this pair of board shorts from this brand called Birdwell. I've actually sold a couple Birdwell shorts before for around like $30 to $40. So I thought that these were going to be about a $30 to $40 item. And come to find out, it's actually like a rare version of these shorts. And there were comps all day between $125 to $150. Listed at $150 with offers on, and accepted an offer of $127. Sold these within a week, and I only paid $5 for them, which was awesome. And then last item today, I picked up this New York Giants. It's called the Salute to Service hoodie. So it's got this digital camo pattern, little like, military theme, and paid $10 for it from a thrift store and sold it very fast, just in a couple days for $44 plus shipping. So that's the 10 things I've got today. Let's tally up the game fund, and we're adding another game to the collection this week. And I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I forgot to record a few items I sold this week, including an Xbox 360 for $27 profit, this Game Boy magnifier for $5 profit, a vintage NFL stress doll for $14 profit, and a DSi XL for $53 profit. And with that, we generated $521 in profit this week after fees and income tax, which honestly I'm pretty proud of, knowing I've had almost no time to actually list any new items over the past few weeks. And honestly, I'm savoring this time I have with my kids before school starts up again. I think eBay can wait. But either way, we have $114 to spend on N64 games, which means we are officially adding 2 more titles I picked up at the game convention last week, Weetrix and Bust-A-Move 99, putting us at 90 N64 games. And if you want to check out this series from the beginning, click this playlist here. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next one.